What really doesn't make sense to me is that so this is recording number 2 of the same chapter. What really doesn't make sense to me is that when one is hostile and the other responds back with hostility, it just amplifies the hostility. And where is the joy in that? I think that that what it is that's important is to not jump the gun and to hold your horses, to refrain from impulsive conclusions. Do not start belittling them back to protect your own ego just because they think low of you, nor take their statement personally and subject yourself to the mercy of hostility, because hostility and animosity have no mercy. I rebel if it is meant to demean, not externally, not with the people that have told me so, because I can't change their mind. I'm not going into a fight to prove to them that I'm not what they said, but I rebel with the effect of the word internally, within my own head. Externally, I curiously nod and smile, saying, "Thank you for your opinion. It will be evaluated with great consideration, and I'll try as hard as I can to abstain from thinking or feeling ill of them." In fact, on the contrary, even if they misjudged me, hurt me in any way, I hold on to thinking of what I find valuable in them, asking myself what I learned from them. Because it makes me uncomfortable to think that the friend I used to hang out with is just sheer wickedness, which, by the way, there is no person in the world that is 100% evil except Satan, who is a bad being as a whole. If they only focus on my shortcomings and overwhelm me with negativity, I cut off the relationship as courteously as I can and move on with my life quietly, without any fuss. Everyone has an evil side to them, but what I think is important to appreciate is to appreciate the good. Furthermore, what you cannot do is set your moral standard towards other people ridiculously high, because it just might happen that you wouldn't be able to pass your own moral standard, which would make you a hypocrite who creates interesting fabricated double standards. Do not judge so that you will not be judged, for in the way you judge, you will be judged, and by your standard of measure, it will be measured to you. Matthew 7:1-2. Therefore, it has to be flexible and tolerant towards others. I do not dwell on things people have done to me that were hurtful as well, or rather, I start analyzing them, trying to understand them, and with that, I try to forgive and move on with my life, because forgiveness liberates you from the effects of urinated anger. Anger is like sponging urine in your head. Hence the expression pissed off, urinated off. There are ways to let it out of your system, but it shouldn't be in the presence or up against any human being. It should be let go to God. The ways that do it is by going to an open space devoid of human beings and screaming out to God into the open air to let the frustration and anger out of my system as I kneel down in complete spiritual submission to Him. It's like the urge to urinate. You go to the toilet as it accumulates. You don't urinate the moment you get the urge to, while being away from the toilet. While being among people, you need to try to hide your anger as much as possible, unless you can talk it out civilly with a person you trust. God can take your anger and process it into a sense of fulfillment and goodness, while most people would be negatively affected by you and would fuel the anger to worse measures. In the process of my reflection of God and proper interaction with people, I also learn a lot about myself. In other words, I don't let their opinion affect me, and I tell to myself that I know that I'm not what they think, to keep my self-image healthy and my self-esteem intact based on evaluating my actions and my state of mind as I consult with my own conscience. Like, for example, if someone I deal with calls me a female dog, I do not grimace, I do not flinch, I do not scream, "Damn you," and I do not take it personally or defensively. Rather, what I do is the following. Let's say with a guy named Marshmallow. Marshmallow, why am I, in your humble opinion, a female dog? Please give me statements that back that up, because being a female dog is evil and humiliating, and I don't want to be that, if in fact I am. Marshmallow says, because you did this and that to me. I further ask him, so what is it I have to do to not be classified a female dog? Because I want to change, if you will, in fact, back that statement up. So he tells me with an edged confidence, in order for you not to be a female dog, you have to spread your legs whenever I want, fornicating, you have to conforming to me and do everything the way I tell you. But in more indirect terms, that mean just that. Then I will tell him, no thanks, I would rather be a female dog by your standards because I think it suits me better. Thank you for your valuable opinion. And then I see his true colors and say, deuces, peace out, only very politely without further arguments. And I move on to the next mind fornicator. Folks, that is just life. Get over it. What I'm trying to say is that I know my own value and I try to know my limits too. If they accuse me to be something that I'm not, I have self-respect and I don't feel the need to justify myself or waste my breath in accusing them back. I never say to people what they are unless I can back up that statement strongly. I simply smile and don't respond. I'm more open to correction if it is done civilly, with heart. While other criticisms is done maliciously, I simply tune out, and I do not respond to them. But in order to be able to distinguish what is right and what is wrong, one must know the difference between right and wrong. Always take time to consult your inner conscience. Everybody has a godly implemented conscience. Even Hitler had a conscience. Only the problem he had was that he never bothered to consult with it. Now, do I like to be criticized? Of course, I do not. I'd like to think I'm perfect, but it allows me to see my behavior, my attitude in life, from the eyes of a third party on a deeper introspective terms, which gives me a richer perspective of myself if I give myself the opportunity to judge the validity of people's opinions regarding me, be it self-deprecating or for the sake of tough loving. It's kind of like looking in the mirror and putting makeup on yourself. I have yet to see a girl effectively put on makeup without a mirror. You cannot really appropriately judge who you are if you don't interact with people who will reflect what you put out. Same here. In order to beautify yourself, you have to interact with the mirror that will reflect your shortcomings, your discoloration, and let the makeup patch it accordingly to beautify your face. Spread beauty across the world and make it a better place to live in, instead of being exposed to sheer defectiveness by being full of oneself, or the opposite, not knowing what your self-worth is. One necessary concept to understand is that no person is born beautifully spiritually. Everybody, except for Jesus Christ, is corrupt, for all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. Romans 3:23. In order to be beautiful, you have to do some sweating, put work into it to get to the best of your potential. And what requires admitting the factors that make you hideous, which would enable you to change your behavior. Deny yourself and take up your cross. Luke 9:23. Please dwell on that. Another important factor to keep in mind is that you should have high moral standards for yourself, but for the people you are engaging with, your moral standard for them needs to be flexible, tolerable, and much lower. For some weird reason, as I observe the deliciously tasteful idiocy of this American society, I find that people have high moral standards towards others, but conveniently have low moral standards in respect to themselves. Please tell me how that makes sense. This attitude allows you to conveniently make interestingly fabricated double standards that make you feel entitled and privileged to call out people that they are something negative without looking at yourself, concentrating on you are this and you are that, instead of reflecting on what am I? Do I like what I'm seeing? Listen to Michael Jackson's Men in the Mirror on YouTube. Also, what is amazing is that people don't care when they are doing wrong towards others. In their mind, it is acceptable. It is not a crime, and they comfortably move on with their ambitious lives of chasing their own tails. But whenever someone did them wrong, they are shouting that it is the ultimate crime against humanity and really unfair. How much more twisted can this thinking get, folks? Furthermore, I do not complain about negative experience that I have been subjected to or pull other people into my problems unless I'm talking with a therapist. Rather, I think what there is to learn from it, how the experience can make me stronger, what kind of tools I can take with me to be able to better use it in the duration of my life in facing other obstacles. In the process, I try to escape bitterness because that is just like stabbing a knife into your own heart. America, however, allows menacing rap artists like Eminem and many others to subject people to the gory details of the pain they are going through, that they are inflicting upon themselves, as if they are the only ones in pain in the face of the world, that are entitled to complain to the world's public, emphasize it and scream, get famous for it, and have us carry their own load. That is causing the public a serious brain damage. But Eminem doesn't care. It is a song by him. Eminem's motto is that if he has a brain damage, then everybody in the world must have it too. What is he trying to just stubbornly evoke? Our sense of pity towards him? Oh my Lord, he got my pity at full scope. But the problem is that he shouldn't have anybody to blame but himself for the pain he is experiencing, because he is inflicting it upon himself. He's trying to make sense of his experiences through hating. And let me tell you, hate makes absolutely no sense. It will lead you to confusion and lack of support of the consciousness. There is no ground with which you can take a stand through hating. Rather, your mind is flying like a balloon that is released into the air, and your life is dictated by sheer anger. Love is the ground upon which you take a stand, as he has a song called I'm Not Afraid to Take a Stand. And I'm not afraid to take a stand against Satan aimlessly loitering in people's heads. Fighting for what you believe is good, but forcing someone to take your stand unwillingly is not so good, especially if your stand is full of hatred. He further sings, everybody come take my hand. We will walk together whatever weather. Please pay attention to what he is technically saying, that he is going to take a stand of his own and force everybody to walk with him through conforming into his own stand. In a way, it is as if we must take his sickly, petrifying stand without any arguments, as he holds your hand and pushes you through his own storm that has been inflicted by his own self. His lyrics are very sick. People need to understand that instead of revering him for being a rap god, which is another song by him, he needs to stop venting his pain on account of people's sanity and get some serious treatment. Like a psychoanalyst, he turned the public into his huge toilet to vent all the negativity he's experiencing in his life. On whose account? On account of our well-being, and in return he gets paid for it, makes a career out of it, and the authority promotes it. As I said, anger, accumulated worldly nonsense, has to be directed at God and not people, even if they are the cause of the anger. Now, please humbly inform me, does this sound normal to you? Can anybody wake up? Quite frankly, I've been amused enough. It is time to take a stand, alright? One thing that he doesn't understand is that love wins, hate falls, and Jesus is gallantly riding on a horse. Hey, hope! Let me tell you what I firmly take a stand for: sanity and common sense. This society has gone so numb to evil that it is subjecting everybody to it. And that makes me deliciously disturbed that I can't concentrate and be productive through my day-to-day living. While he sits and fornicates with his own mind, doing nothing useful with his time except for beefing, mashed potatoing, and in dissing others for no reason, I have to be affected by it while I'm trying to do something productive for a change. Another interesting lyric that I found is when he's saying, never let anybody tell you not beautiful. They can get fornicated. Just stay true to you. Let me humbly ask you, my beloved Marshmallow, can you please tell me what is it that you think is true to you? Do you even think you know yourself as you think you do? How in the world can someone know oneself without self-reflection, exposing yourself to analysis and critical thinking of what surrounds you? Dear Slim Shady, your mind is so slimmed out, emaciated, anorexic, and shadily narrowed down to the point that you can't see the world clearly anymore. Completely immersed yourself in a blindfolded perspective of the world. Analysis and critical thinking are words that are completely foreign to you. What you do instead is let your anger dictate your life. Your mind controls you rather than you being in control of your own mind. I just don't understand people sending other people to fornicating. Please believe that those that said you are not beautiful will fornicate whenever they want to, and they don't need your permission to do it. But I will daringly say to Marshmallow that right now, based on how he acts, behaves, and thinks without hitting the filter button of the mind, he is absolutely not beautiful. In fact, he is very hideous and a sweet embodiment of a demon, but it doesn't mean he can become beautiful. He has to work on himself, some serious work. If he sends me to fornicating for my saying that he is not beautiful for not liking my humble opinion, then I would say to him the following: whenever I will find the love of my life, I will make sure to follow your advice, videotape my fornication, and send it to you to let you know how appreciative I am for the best advice I've ever gotten in my life. If it hadn't been for you, it would have never occurred to me. So thank you for the bottom of my heart. Another interesting concept that I found is that if someone doubts him, then he will tear that person's balcony. If he believes he is so ambitious, resilient, and unstoppable, then why is he desperately depending on someone's belief in him? I don't need anybody to believe in me. My belief in me and God's belief in me is all that is necessary for me to propel forward towards accomplishing my goals. But not for my sake, for the sake of me having the tools to make the world a better place for everybody. In other words, my efforts that I put out in the world are for the sake of glorifying God and not myself. People will doubt you, but it doesn't mean that you need to tear off their balcony. The problem is, Marshmallow, is that you doubt yourself. Therefore, you better tear out your own balcony. Now ask me, why did I subject myself to this distracting heaviness if the arena I took a peek into is like entering a battleground? I will answer that it was because I wanted to try to understand Marshmallow and his frame of mind, so that I will tenderly not diss but set him in place and put him back on track, because his mind cancer is contagious. He is spreading it all over the world, all over the media and the web, and you have to start from the very source. To do just that, you have to see what is causing to see what is going on in there. And my goal is to help him heal and be free from his spiritual cancer. The reason I call him Marshmallow is because his original name is Marshall. That has a negative connotation. I hear the word marsh, which he is deeply stuck in and can't get out. So I'm trying to mellow out his marsh, and if I wear him, I would eventually change his name to something more positive to be able to strive to become that name. You are whatever you name yourself to be. For example, the nick I chose for myself is Shiny Star. It sounds happy. It sounds spunky, bright, and hopeful. Even though I might not have been a star at the time that I called myself that, it gave me a reference point, a goal for what to strive for. What I'm saying to people when we are departing is that they should look at the nocturnal sky and find the brightest star, and that is me smiling at them to make people feel warm inside. Names have certain strong connotations, and you have to be careful about calling yourself something that is negative connotations, because you would turn into what you have called yourself to be. I think it is important to discuss Marshmello to bring the public and him to their senses. He has some lyrics that I resonate with, very few, but mostly his songs are self-centered and hard to relate to. Music needs to be comforting for the mind, for us to be able to unwind from the very chaos we go through. Music needs to be empowering and not detrimental to the mind. And it also needs to make sense and inspire. Music needs to be encouraging and empathetic to other people's pain and not overly focused on the artist. Music must be relatable. It should not be super specific to your life. Every song has to have some kind of moral to it. Music needs to give us some kind of tools to implement into our own life struggles to conquer our pain. Music has to be thoughtful and gentle, not a bunch of unrestrained poop and aggressive belligerence. However, even if you want to sing about pain, it must be relatable. If you sing stuff that only concerns you, then sing it to yourself and don't put it on the media. If you need to vent, then write all these thoughts on a piece of paper and throw it out into the garbage. Don't expose your entire poop to the public. To be quite frank, every time a song is written before releasing it into the media, its lyrics must be carefully examined. Think how those lyrics would affect the public state of mind and thinking. Concepts that are sexual must be strictly subliminal. That is Britney Spears' specialty. Sex is a part of life. We can't deny it. And I don't think there is any problem with that. But directly exposing to vulgarity and stinking expression of the mind is simply wrong. If it is not, then what is? It puts people in a clouded haze and encourages negative thinking because profane lyrics stick in your head, especially when there is a beat and a melody to it. I don't understand how the authority can permit this. This country has gone negatively wild beyond my understanding and rebellious to common sense. America will not stay a superpower forever. It will collapse to sexual immorality just like the Roman Empire did. Nevertheless, just like every book manuscript is reviewed and approved, the lyrics of songs have to be proofread and carefully examined. You can't just allow everything to be on the air. Profanity and its glorification must be absolutely banned. Why? Because it inflicts the peacefulness of one's state of mind. The mind must be pure and filtered. It needs to be exposed to flowers, roses, and fluorescent bubbles because the mind is very fragile and you have to take care of it. The mind is what keeps you standing on your feet, and piling burdensome lyrics not only taints people's view of the world, but snaps them, makes them short-tempered, and not good and productive citizens. Lack of good and productive citizens deprives societal prosperity and creates an inability to bring it to fruition. Furthermore, you have to evaluate if the thought that is in your head is good or not, because Satan is planting his seed in you occasionally to impede you and to make you stumble. Thoughts that should be out of character to you, as he is hoping you won't notice that it is him. You can't blurt everything that crosses your head and especially act upon it. You have to sit and think whether this thought is good or not. Consult with your conscience. If it is, then dwell on it. If it is not, your conscience will tell you so, and then you don't debate with your conscience because it knows better. Therefore, you discard that thought and never dwell on it again. Your conscience must be your ultimate boss of your life and not your anger. Your conscience is your best friend ever. You need to be in touch with it all at all times and never let go of it for one split second. Please understand that everybody is going through enough pain as it is that is implemented through people's sin and vulgar lyrics that evoke nasty images in one's head clutter a person's mind that is trying to focus on bettering the world. I feel like profanity just chases me everywhere I go. Saying the derogatory word for fornicating as adverbs describing things, ideas, places, and people depict an aggressive kind of fornication that is analogous to raping. Saying "go get fornicated" while using the derogatory word is analogous to saying "go get raped." And please tell me, what kind of image does a person get upon being exposed to it? That word is just unimaginably evil. The word fornicating is more sophisticated and classy, and people do it as an expression of love. No. Folks, therefore, I ask, stop fornicating with concepts, ideas, people, and places because it contracts STDs of the mind. Sexual expressions must be strictly condomined, and you must maintain abstinence from that derogatory word at all times. Rely on expressions that are more powerful in their substance. After habitual use of that word, you stop feeling the erroneousness of it and become desensitized to the evil effects of it. Now, the derogatory word for poop creates a picture of tarts and bowel movements in your head that emits a strong sense of stench. That is all pictured in your head when someone uses it. Tell me, how is it not disturbing? When you say poop, although the tarts are there is a spray fragrancy that makes the depiction more subtle and more comforting on the mind because you sniff its fragrance and it still does its intended job. Please believe me, don't rely on these words because they are full of evil and really unnecessary. It clogs the mind, stifles creativity, and you can't see and interpret the world clearly. Even if you are going through a negative frame of mind, you should make an oxymoron such as deliciously disturbed to describe it. It better allows you to cope with the disturbance. On one hand, you are acknowledging its reality, and on the other, you are pushing the negativity away by a positive word. Also, the derogatory word for urinating is the same thing, even when you are urinated off by someone. The derogatory word for booty, ASS, is a degrading depiction that a man lusts for the bouncy flesh of the woman's bottom, which also denotes supreme negativity. Also, the derogatory expression of bottomless pit, such as where in the bottomless pit have you been? What you are technically saying is that we are in the bottomless pit. Now, you think the world is full of pain? Take a dive into the actual bottomless pit, and then you will see some pain. But please, don't drag me with you because there you would be suffering infinite scorching pain. And I personally don't want to be there. But that is just me. Some find it rather appealing, who knows. Instead, I say, where in the world have you been? Because where are we? We are in the world. We are not in bottomless pit just yet. We have time to change and be saved by Jesus Christ. However, for those who are itching to go there, do it on your own accord, but don't make me feel that I'm in the bottomless pit with you. It makes me feel rather uncomfortable, especially that foolish Northern California expression, hella, makes me feel like the description is full of hellish things. Why can't you use really, very, exceedingly, and so many other more classy terms? Although the world is full of pain, there is still a lot of beauty to appreciate, and it is not as bad as much as a bottomless pit would be. But the word is fallen, and God specifically says not to get comfortable in it. Do not love the world, nor the things in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, and the lust of the eyes, and the boastful pride of life, is not from the Father, but is from the world. 1 John 2, 15, 16. In other words, we all should set our heart to heaven and be obedient to God in the world, because we are only guests in here. Nevertheless, I'd rather savor my time here than go to hell. Therefore, I strongly advise everybody to refrain from such expressions at all times. They are cursed. They are summoning evil spirits. All these words that end with a double S that sounds like a serpent should be religiously abstained, such as this, piss, ass, even kiss. Tell them goodbye. For a kiss, I would say smooch, because it sounds a lot more cuddling, while the kiss sounds demonically seductive. But for that word, it depends on the context. Another thing that I am so bubbleishly horrified by is that upon circumstances going wrong, people resort to saying wholly derogatory poop. But when they are thinking of God, they are saying, oh, my fornicating God. Now, who in the world developed these demonically twisted expressions? Poop is holy and God is fornicating. When something wrong is going on or not the way I planned, I resort to God's comfort by saying, oh, my holy Jesus Christ. Or, oh, my Lord, please have mercy. I ask him to help me go through my distress. I do not rely on holy poop to help me cope with it, because poop is not going to help me. I rely on God's comfort, not some twisted expressions that it seems only the English language has. God is alive, and poop is an inanimate, very much unholy object. It is our body's waste. It is garbage. It stinks. Russian has some swearing. Notice that I don't say cussing. Cuss, remember, is the serpent's language. But they are a lot more inventive and not as sick sounding as in English. Hebrew has very little amount of swear words at our disposal, which I think is good. By the way, please tell me why the word swear depicts foul language. I thought I solemnly swear to the fact is the condition to being truthful to yourself and following through your promises. And being foul is not being true to yourself. Just complete opposites. One is negative and one is positive. For people who are learning your absurd language, wouldn't you think that it would be really confusing? Can you please decide? Is it another word for using foul language or being truthful by following through your promises? It should be one or the other, not both, because they are mutually exclusive. The word curse should be descriptive of that purpose and not other ridiculous synonyms. Also, refrain from saying pussy. Again, that sickly sounding double S sound. Please, girls and boys, have some respect for it and call it a vagina. By the way, I don't understand the expression, don't be such a pussy. Is that supposed to mean that don't be such a coward? Boys, would you like to have a vagina that goes through the ultimate stress of giving birth and going through such pain as surviving menstruation, mood swings, being more susceptible to contracting a urinary tract infection than you, and surviving all the obstacles victoriously altogether? Why is the vagina cowardly? Please explain to me. I think my vagina is a champion, which, by the way, if we hit that topic, it is also wholesomely virginized and pure. I am proud to have it, and I bear the most respect for it, because it takes care of me and I take care of it, in comparison to all of your frolicking, happy-go-lucky, inconsiderate, much inconveniencing penises. Again, by the way, I do not like the word penis, even though it is a scientific word. It ends with S. Thankfully not double, but it sounds like a double. Someone has to get up and create a word that will sound self-respecting of your body genitalia. There is nothing to be embarrassed about it as long as it is good sounding word without the S and it is used in appropriate context. For example, the first time I was introduced to the word vagina, I thought it was a name of a girl. It sounds beautiful. When it sounds beautiful, you have respect for it. Also, don't use the word sucks. It sucks sound like we are giving someone a blowjob. And on top of that, it has this wicked demonic S sound. Who in the world came up with the English language? Please, I think I need to have a conversation with them, because so far it is just being an amazing masterpiece. Someone needs to sit down and think of positively evoking words and expression. Read the book 1984 by George Orwell, and you will know what I mean. How language affects people's thinking. Abbreviations of words and expressions like there is no tomorrow, which limits the capacity of your thinking, such as TTYL, 4 words shrunk into 4 letters. How much lazier can we get? Because I will talk to you later about this absurdity. Another thing that frustrates me with English is the following words: sheet, shit, bitch, beach, Give me a sheet of paper. Give me a shit of paper. Let's go to that beach. Or let's go to that bitch, girlfriend. Which one would you pick? Would you tell me? Beautiful. The most deliciously fornicating language I've ever been exposed to. When I came to the US, I had a thick accent that I couldn't really get myself to say those words right. But it seems like it is all the same difference, right? Now, professional linguists need to wake up out there, take the power of language and its connotations more seriously, and start fabricating some new words of expression that would be more benign to the mind, possibly even revive the Elizabethan English language. Why is everybody running away from it? I write my poems to people I value in that language. When I'm thinking in English, I'm in such a burdensome state of mind for some reason. When I'm thinking in Hebrew, I feel a lot more liberated and more at ease. Now, why is that? If Hebrew was resurrected and made from scratch, so should English, because many of its terminologies and expressions don't sit well within my conscience. Please sympathize, and if it doesn't sit well in my conscience, I feel pooped out of horror in my day-to-day living when I hear people all opening their mouth. I'm sure I'm not the only one. These people, song artists that have nothing better to do with themselves, better figure out quickly what it is that they should do that is more productive and positively contribute to humanity. The problem is that songs that have vulgar lyrics and really unwholesome messages but have a very catchy beat and interesting music video taste entrap a person's mind into listening to this poop and being affected by it on all kinds of levels, even subconscious. One example of that is Nicki Minaj. Her lyrics are full of wicked ideas but are very engaging because she's pretty and colorful, which is a seductive way to pull someone into negativity and into dangerous zones of life. Now, therefore, my sons, listen to me and pay attention to the words of my mouth. Do not let your heart turn aside to her ways. Do not stray into her paths, for many are the victims she has cast down, and numerous are all her slain. Her house is the way to Sheol, grave, descending to the chapters of death, ray into her paths. Listen to Michael Jackson's Dangerous on YouTube. On top of that, I get really frustrated when random people's names that aren't well known are mentioned in some artist's lyrics, like 10 different names in one song. Wouldn't it be slightly overwhelming? It means something to the singer, but to me it means nothing, and it clutters my brain. The majority of the public is not familiar with them. So why are you piling on us your complete nonsense? We have enough on our plate while you sit, fornicate, and masturbate with your own mind on our account. You can mention a person's name if you explain why he is in your lyrics. Like, for example, Michael Jackson. Billie Jean has got my love. She's just a girl. Michael is explaining to the public who she is, and that is, I think, acceptable. And the entire song is only about her. Now, Marshmello, you do not make the public a favor through your rapping. Please rest assured of that. Your rap is mostly negative and deeply disturbing. It's not the public's fault for your pain and anger. Please get it ingrained tightly in your head with an embossed stamp. What in the world did I ever do to you to deserve your hating? Even if I did, the right thing to do is to forgive. You might be a skilled rapper, but you don't use your talent for righteous causes. It's like having a powerfully moving opera singer sing nothing but sheer profanity. No thanks, dear rap god. Please keep your very effective pouncing rhymes and talented structured lyrics to yourself. However, it doesn't mean that I don't see potential in Mr. Marshmello, but the problem is that his mind is cancerous, and his skull must be cracked open so that someone will carefully take the cancerous thoughts out of him. I don't mean it literally, I mean it figuratively. It must be done with a professional psychoanalyst that will help him straighten out his thinking. Then he would be able to live up to his own potential, but for that he needs to first admit that he needs helping. I really wish I had an opportunity to meet him face to face. I'm just amazed that society doesn't see anything wrong with him as he's ambitiously urinating and pooping his vicious anger throughout the web because he happens to be urinated off by someone. What has this world, or specifically let me say America, has come to, folks? Please tell me. Foreign songs are a lot more filtered and controlled, effective and enriching. Is this all right? Is this just fine? And is this the way we are striving towards our hopeful future? Everywhere I go, I just cannot have a peace of mind. On top of that, do you think innocent children won't be exposed to that? We already had Ellen DeGeneres having 2-3-year-olds singing Nicki Minaj's lyrics with fornication words in it, and gory expletives in acts of promoting her album. Tell me, did Ellen DeGeneres ever bother to look at Nicki Minaj's lyrics in an analytical manner before allowing this to happen? Yo, this is just jolly and fun, increasing your rating scores of the show. Why in the world would I mind that? They were such cute little children singing vulgar language and very skillfully, I must say. I was exceedingly impressed. There is nothing wrong with that. What, Smiley, are you sitting and female dogging about? Let Ellen DeGeneres promote the corruption of kids' minds. Oh my Lord, this world's damnation. The only hope is our Lord's mercy, Jesus Christ. What I'm preaching here is simple. 2 + 2 = 4. That is Jesus Christ. It will never equal 5 spanking yo, and go read your Bible below. Read responsibly, analytically, and try to see how the morals that you are taught in the Bible are applicable to your own experience. God bless America's pompous naughtiness, all right. Welcome to sexual demoralization and glorifying immorality, because there is nothing wrong with that. Let us get all numbed out and blindly guided by its evil principles of life. Amen. Listen to They Don't Care About Us by Michael Jackson on YouTube. You guys, I think I'm slightly sick. Please do call a doctor for my heart. Listen to Modern Talking, Doctors for My Heart on YouTube. I'm just so gravely ill, Mr. Bipolarity. What can I say? Let me take more lithium till the day I die so that I will have 52% kidney damage, because after all, lithium is what treats insanity, the cost of my kidney function. Because why would we rely on the Bible for comfort and encouragement to make us feel better? That is just unreasonable. No, we need shoved pills to make us feel better. Let me tell you what else lithium does. It makes you dehydrated. It makes you retarded. It makes you slur your speech. It inflates the fingers of your hand. It interlocks your thumbs, and it wrecks your liver. It delays your thinking, and many other side effects. To the societal claim of insanity, mental hospital patients are being shoved it. It is so hard to feel your own conscious mind with it. It is so hard to feel anything with it. It's like your existence is floating in space, and the molecules of your mental existence are spread throughout all of it. It's like you can't pick the scattered, broken pieces of it together, and you can't recognize your own sense of self. Mood stabilizer that is leading to conscious breakalizer. That is what I call it. Listen to Evanescence Lithium on YouTube. While I'm gravely ill, according to those countless psychiatrists who have labeled me to my own living doom, Mr. Marshmallow is just so healthy and doesn't need any help. I get to fool around at the psych emergency services 7 times consecutively for the past 5 years, get pills forcefully shoved into my mouth and forcefully imposed injections into my butt, and he gets absolutely none. Why? Because he is very healthy and I get to be classified as very gravely ill. I sit and wonder why Jeff is bipolar, Eric's bipolar, I'm bipolar, and Britney Spears is bipolar. The weather is bipolar, at least in the Bay Area. Oh, what a strange coincidence. On YouTube, listen to Hot and Cold by Katy Perry. My bipolar disorder is for the sake of love. We are so bipolar for the insistent pursuit of sanity, which is unusually odd. Therefore, we must be gravely ill, as sanity is odd and abnormal, Friends, do you understand? But all normal people are unipolar for healthy conformed insanity. I am manic from my love to God. Insanity separate from God conforms to social etiquette, while the pursuit of sanity, unison with God, makes you stand out and must be treated and muffled out of your system because you are displaying very odd behaviors. My friends, do you comprehend? This just gets better and better every day, folks. This is just lovely, my friends. God, please do bless America someday. And Jeff, I do not take my statement back. I wish that everyone would be as bipolar as us, as we are fighting satanic roller coasters, as if that is abnormal for our people to experience and therefore must quickly be treated. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. Romans 12:2. Jeff, you're reading your Bible, but are you applying its concepts to real life? Or you read, set them aside, and move on to interpreting the world in a shallow thinking? What are we supposed to feel? One emotion throughout all of our lives? We need to be happy all the time? Or no, to be depressed all the time? Being depressed by Satan is so abnormal. Therefore, we will shove pills into your mouth for you to be happy. What we absolutely do not do is read the Bible to seek comfort. Oh no, we also should have shock therapy because we are depressed, which kills brain cells and deteriorates the memory. But what can I say? It helps to feel better. Wait, you are too manically happy? That is also abnormal. You seem out of touch with reality. Therefore, we'll shove pills into your mouth for you to get down back to earth and be in balance, as we say. Why did we stop lobotomizing, cutting the amygdala out of your brain? One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Please read it. Please, PhD psychiatrists, my dear heart healers, please explain what defines a well-balanced mind without God, huh? I'd like to be humbly enlightened. When I sarcastically laugh hysterically at the top of my lungs over the absurdities of life to help me cope and muffle my disturbance, wait, this is completely out of line. She needs emergency pills now. Whether you want to sit and argue with me, Jeff, or anybody else, I don't care. It has finally reached my time to take my own standing, and I won't budge an inch or a centimeter for it, no matter what you tell me. To be quite frank with you, I don't care what you think. I'm listening only to my own conscience. And by the way, I'm taking no more lithium. Here, I dare to say it. But wait, you seem like you have gotten to be way better and it seems to be working. You should continue taking it. You are not out of whack as you are when you don't take it. Then I'd say, have you ever heard the expression time heals? Время лечит. Instead of stupid, idiotic expressions that you are exposed to daily. And my out-of-whack moods are circumstantial. Yeah, right, Dr. Randall, PhD psychiatry instead of Bible PhD. Bipolar disorder is genetically predisposed and it is not inflicted through the traumatic experiences you've gone through. In other words, even if you hadn't gone through traumatic experience, you would have still been bipolar. Why? Because it is ingrained in you from the day you were born. You have a cancer of the mind, but I don't, right? Awesome. I humbly ask, please leave me all alone and let me live in peace. Don't tell me who I am and who I am not. I know better. I will only ask God's opinion of who I am. I hope you don't mind me doing that. As far as my beliefs are concerned, each person is free to follow whichever feeling they want to stick with. If they want to wallow in their self-induced depression, they may on their own accord. No pills will save them. But if they want to see the cup half full, they have to find healthy distractions and habits, stick to positive affirmations of the mind, and seek interactions with the external world in such a way that would help them shake up and get up to do business. And definitely stick to God's Spirit. I'm rarely depressed, but if I'm depressed, I'm clinically depressed. My body shuts down from all the pressure I'm going through, and I sleep for days. I just wait until that wavelength passes. For that, I do not have a choice. I have to endure it. Pills don't help. They are just served as a placebo effect and mess you up with their side effects and support the economy of the pharmacist as we pay for this senselessness. Patients are told that that is what it is for, and all of a sudden they think they feel better because people believe the pills should help. Why can't you just believe you are better without taking the pill? Pills also don't treat mania, which, by the way, let me try to convince society that there's nothing wrong with being exuberantly happy in the Lord, which is my kind of mania. All the other manias, such as spending too much money, being too promiscuous, thoughtless and stupid, is a product of someone's choice, and don't blame it on some irrelevant, idiotic explanation of the brain's biology. The brain is formed perfectly to perform its biological functions. It is what we as humans choose to do with what God has given us and the choices we make in life, the priorities we uphold. The brain simply holds the mind, our inner soul. Being happy is a choice that is enriched by following God. That's a commandment in the Bible, to be happy. Your overall attitude towards life is composed 90% of how you choose to perceive your circumstances and 10% of what actually happens to you. The effect of the pills prescribed to you is a solution of causation that does not mean correlation. Simple fact of statistics. Folks, my hospitalizations are still to follow in my humble narrative in my sequel, My Spiritual Fight. To me, it mostly caused damage and has tried to muffle my energetic and vivacious spirit. Pills should be prescribed only to relieve or even fix physical ailments, not mental. The mental ailments give up to God to fix. I stand boldly by that.